This is the Tom Bigby Tales podcast. I'm Shannon Evans, and I write about a small town in Northeast Mississippi called Columbus. In today's episode, titled Who is Bullying the Board?, we explore the ridiculously unethical bully tactics of a local politician on the CVB board. That politician wrote a last-minute letter to every board member before coming to the meeting on Tuesday that ended with a medical emergency. It is dated September 18th and is on his official letterhead. Let's get into it. To the directors of the Columbus-Lowndes County Convention and Visitors Bureau, dear board members, I'm writing to express my strong support of Nancy Carpenter, Executive Director of the Columbus-Lowndes County Convention and Visitors Bureau. However, it is extremely disappointing to find one of our premier agencies entangled in an effort to impugn the character of a person that has contributed so much to the well-being of this community through her personal attributes and dedication. In casting my vote for members to serve on this board, it was based on my belief they would further enhance the goals of the Columbus-Lowndes County Convention and Visitors Bureau. However, I have been truly disappointed in the organized effort to create problems in the community and a hostile environment with the agency. I appeal to each of you to cease immediately and move forward in a positive manner. As a member of the Lowndes County Board of Supervisors, I have had the opportunity to work with Ms. Carpenter on a number of projects. In her role as executive director, she has worked diligently to ensure their success. Several years ago, I requested Nancy to work with me in hosting the Association of Minority Supervisors in Columbus, an organization of 146 members and staff. It was because of her we had one of the most successful conferences, Leroy, ever. Nancy, like most of us, have to endure growing pains to come full circle in our work. After almost 40 years on the Board of Supervisors, I'm still learning. I'm confident with her personal attributes, knowledge of the profession, and her personal relationships at all levels of government will only serve to make our agency the best in the state. It is not time to be influenced by outside individuals with personal agendas against this organization and the director, but it is time to work collectively in being a bright spot in our community. As the longest serving supervisor in this county, I ask you to lay down the gauntlet and help unify this community. Wow, there's a lot to unpack there. But I digress. Let's start with looking at this letter by Mr. Brooks. I find it interesting on so many levels that Mr. Brooks, or Leroy as we lifelong locals know him, refers to me as an outside influence at the very end of this letter. I not only was raised here, but after attending the University of Mississippi, later taught here and got a second undergraduate and master's degree at the Mississippi University for Women, located here in Columbus, Mississippi. Leroy personally knows my mother and my father before his death. Leroy and my mother, a journalist, sparred often in the local paper. He is just a politician sowing discord and meddling, and worse, intimidating the board members that were installed by the Board of Supervisors, whom he is a member for the last 40 years. Unbelievable. Worse, it feels like he has been coerced to write this letter or wrote it from a position of fear. What is he afraid of? Who is he afraid of? What reason would possibly make him write such a blatantly overreaching letter from his office? He clearly fears transparency and any accountability for the CVB director with a multi-million-dollar tax-funded budget. Why? I think we do not need to look any further than his charitable Juneteenth organization. The Juneteenth celebration is an important event in Columbus's African-American community that is sponsored yearly by the CVB. However, there is a long and storied contentious relationship documented completely in the local dispatch between the CVB director, the board, and Leroy over funding of that event. He has fought or bullied his way in multiple CVB board meetings to demand more funding. While I'm certain the money all goes to the event, it is interesting just how far their $15,000 events grant went for permitting, bans, marketing, etc. It is also interesting to note how little in-kind marketing support Juneteenth got from the CVB. I can't imagine how Leroy funded a sizable out-of-town band, a stage crew, and not to mention the per diem and hotel costs for said band and stage crew. Maybe he had great private donations. I look forward to reading the organization's 990 filings with the IRS this year for his nonprofit. I just have so many questions. What is most interesting about Leroy's letter is how he delves into personality but makes zero assessment of Carpenter's job results. This is a performance review for the CEO of a significantly large budget that is more than $80,000 in the hole this year. In the boardroom, there's no room for this type of mistake, overspending, and learning with other people's money. She's a professional with over 30 years experience and nothing to show this year except photo ops at the local college football games and with minor politicians. She has adversarial roles with almost every town partnership that works with in the tourism industry and with every nonprofit in town. She has negligible decreasing tourism to prove her terrible job performance, and she has no apparent plan on how to remedy this dire situation for the future. Clearly, Supervisor Leroy Brooks is in Carpenter's pocket, but how? What does she hold over him? In yesterday's lengthy executive session, no consensus could be reached by the CVB board to completely remove Carpenter from her job. A compromise was reached, and they gave her a 6-month contract and allegedly a mandatory retirement after. I fully anticipate backdoor shenanigans between Carpenter and Board of Supervisors Brooks. They will try and unseat this board, overturn her contract, and reinstate her in a full year's contract. In the meantime, Tom Bigby Tales research team will press forward with a revised and expanded FOIA request to dig deeper into the finances of the CVB and associated projects. We will continue to fight for transparency in this community. We will shine a light on the evil and malfeasance of people and organizations who undermine the goodwill and hard work of volunteers in this community. I applaud the CVB board for finding a workable compromise and not giving in to political pressure. I applaud their fight for future transparency and refusal to just be a rubber stamp committee like they have been in the past. Thanks to my listeners who continue to support, share, and push me to keep going in the face of political pressure and online trolls. Keep exposing corruption and mismanagement for all to see, because truly, sunlight is the best disinfectant.